Here's a psychology fact you're not ready for. People don't show their true nature until power enters the relationship. Psychologists call this behavioral revealing under power asymmetry. And once you understand it, you'll realize why relationships shift over time. But here's where it gets worse. Machiavelli said people are loyal only while it benefits them. And this applies to all humans, including women. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. When comfort rises, effort drops. When certainty increases, mystery dies. Your brain stops evaluating because it thinks it already won. If that hits you, good, you needed it. If you want loyalty, don't rely on emotion. Rely on mutual benefit and clarity. Most people don't realize this, but your brain has been lying to you about what creates attraction. Psychologists call it dual motive behavior, the tension between wanting stability but responding strongly to strength. Most people stop here, and that's the biggest mistake. The truth is, attraction doesn't survive on love alone. It survives on respect. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. This is why the nice guy strategy fails. Nice without boundaries becomes weakness. Care without standards becomes self-betrayal. Your brain thinks niceness earns love, but nature rewards strength mixed with empathy, not softness. Here's the truth you've been avoiding. Respect is earned, not requested. If you want to maintain attraction, build personal authority. Here's a harsh psychology fact. People use emotions strategically, often without even knowing it. This is called covert influence behavior, and Machiavelli saw it centuries before psychologists named it. But here's where it gets even worse. Emotional expression can be genuine, or it can be a tool to guide your behavior. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. Humans aren't fully rational. We communicate needs through emotions. But when insecurity rises, emotion can turn into manipulation. If that's stung, it's because you've fallen for emotional pressure before. Don't react to emotion. Respond to patterns. If you chase constantly, this harsh psychology fact will hurt. The more available you are, the less valuable you seem. Psychologists call this value saturation, and Machiavelli wrote the same idea centuries ago when he said, "Familiarity breeds contempt." But here's where it gets worse. When you make someone the center of your world, they eventually move you to the edges of theirs. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. People only value what they fear losing. This happens because your brain adapts to abundance and stops appreciating what's always there. If that woke you up, good, you needed it. If you want to break the cycle, protect your time and attention. Here's a psychology fact most people deny. Validation becomes addictive, especially in romantic dynamics. Psychologists call it externalized self-worth, where someone depends on another person to feel confident. But here's where it gets worse. The one who needs approval becomes the one who gets controlled. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. People don't respect the source of their validation. They depend on it, but often resent it. This happens because constant reassurance signals insecurity, and insecurity kills attraction. If that hits you, good. It means you've been giving too much. If you want to stop this pattern, give appreciation, not approval, and ground your value internally.
Here's a psychology fact you're not ready for. People test boundaries not because they're evil, but because the human brain is wired to measure strength through limits. Psychologists call this boundary calibration. But here's where it gets even worse. If you never enforce your limits, people subconsciously assume you don't have any. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. Softness invites control, not intentionally, but naturally. This happens because the brain interprets low resistance as low value. If that bothered you, good. It means you've been letting too much slide. If you want to break this cycle, enforce small boundaries consistently so big ones never get crossed. Here's a harsh psychology fact. People don't always want the truth. They want the version of the truth that protects their emotions. Psychologists call this emotional filtering. But here's where it gets even worse. In relationships, this can make hard conversations feel like attacks instead of clarity. And here's the part nobody admits. Avoiding conflict to keep the peace slowly destroys respect. This happens because suppressed truth becomes silent resentment, and resentment kills attraction. If that hit you, good. You needed it. If you want to fix this pattern, say the truth with calmness, not aggression, and don't apologize for being honest. If you think effort guarantees appreciation, this harsh psychology fact will hurt. People get used to whatever you give them consistently. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. But here's where it gets even worse. What feels like love to you can become background noise to someone else. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. Once your effort becomes normal, they stop noticing it. This happens because the brain values contrast, not constancy. If that hit you, good. It means you've been letting too much slide. If you want to maintain respect, stop doing everything and start doing the right things with intention. Here's a painful psychology fact. Attraction dies the moment predictability becomes suffocating. Psychologists call this stability fatigue, where too much comfort kills excitement. But here's where it gets worse. Routine can turn affection into obligation. And here's the part nobody admits. People crave certainty, but they also crave mystery. This happens because the brain needs both safety and stimulation to stay invested. If that stung, good. It means you've been too predictable. If you want to keep attraction alive, remain consistent in character, but unpredictable in experience. Here's a harsh truth you're not ready for. Admiration fuels desire more than love does. Psychologists call this aspirational attraction, where people gravitate toward those who inspire them. But here's where it gets worse. Once someone stops admiring you, their emotional investment weakens. And here's the part nobody admits. If you stop growing, interest stops growing too. This happens because humans are drawn to momentum, not stagnation. If that woke you up, good. You needed it. If you want to maintain desire, stay evolving, stay striving, and stay interesting.